Okay, so I get asked constantly, and I don't mind, but I don't like having to rewrite it every single time. People are always asking me, "Hey, what gear should I get? What gear should I get?" Which is a pretty vague question because it's like, well, what do you want to do? Because that matters a lot, obviously. So I've kind of just put together like uh, basic guides for different specs and different tasks of gear to farm for. Now there's some rules: no PvP gear, no raiding gear. I think that's pretty much the only rules I put on myself here. So there's a lot of items that you would want that aren't going to be in here. Even like like Sergeant's Cloak, or PvP trinket. I'm not going to even mention those. I mean, at some level, people need to fill in the gaps, and most people already know this really basic stuff. So I'm really talking to people that just never played a paladin before, and this is their first time. Anyways, let's start with PvE ret gear. I made some really crappy notes on pieces of paper, so you might hear me like folding things, but I'm gonna try to get through this quickly. Uh, First thing you want to farm. Uh, it'll last you forever, and you pretty much will never replace it in PvE. Lionheart helmet, and you want to get the 8 strength Libram on it. For your necklace, you're gonna have to do that long chest chain and do Mark of Fording. For shoulders, you're gonna want Wormhide Spaldrons, easy to get BRD quests, and then you can upgrade it to the True Strike shoulders. And depending on the synergy you can unlock, you're gonna go for the Black Dragon Scale shoulders. So for PvE, since it's just assumed you're going BIS for early game content, because if you were already going to the later game content, you'd probably most likely would already have better gear than this. So I'm going to say put fire resist, because Blackwing Layer and Molten Core fire resist is what you need. Now obviously get all resist if you have whatever, I forgot, I think it's Exalted or something with Argent Dawn, but this is for beginners, so that's why that's relevant. Now, sometimes the things I'm going to say in here isn't always the best enchant. I'm going to say things like, I don't think you should get too good of an enchant on something that's really just crappy and not worth it. So, money is also considered when I talk about these enchants. So, let's go to the chest piece. You want to look for the Death Dealer breastplate, the Ogre Forged Halberd, the Savage Gladiator chain. Once it's upgraded, the Savage Gladiator change becomes really good. I'd probably get just +3 all stats to these, maybe a +4 on my Savage Gladiator, the upgraded one. Anyways, Cloak, Cape with the Black Baron. It's pretty much the only really good cloak. I mean, you can find something else out there, the Tiger, that holds you over. But Cape with the Black Baron, +3 agility. I know it sucks to farm. For wrist, I would do Battleborn arm braces or maybe Gordok bracers of power. Just load up as much strength as I can find in enchantments. For hands, Devil Sword Gauntlet's pretty good, especially if you need to unlock the set bonus. Gargoyle Slashers, Gordok Handguards, Reaver Claws. I would not do 15 agility on these, as I just don't think. Well, first, it's not in the game yet on the server I'm playing on, but just in general, I just don't think they're good enough to merit that expensive an enchant. I just do 7 strength. Legs, let's go for Devil Sword leggings, Black Dragon Scale leggings, depending on set bonuses. And if you're playing an earlier version of the game that's not all the way updated, Savage Gladiator leggings are extremely strong until they get upgraded and then become more well-rounded, but then they kind of lose their purpose. I think I have them right now on my guy, and it's like 25 strength, 25 agility, something crazy high. Feet, Wind Reaver Greaves, Battle Chaser Greaves, Swift Walker boots, and Black Dragon Scale boots, depending on everything else going on. Nice thing about Black Dragon Scale is it adds a lot of fire resist, which actually matters quite a bit in these earlier raids. It's pretty nice. It can make a big difference. For rings, I would go Magna's Will, Painweaver Band, Blackstone Ring, and Tarnished Elven Ring. For trinkets, Hand of Justice, Black Hand's Breath. For belt, I'm sure there's some sort of leather belt or something out there that I just didn't think of, but the only one I really know of is Omok's Girth Restrainer. It's a quest in LBRS. It's really, really strong. For weapon, now I said no battlegrounds, but I know the question's going to come up constantly, so I decided to include it. Ice Barb Spear is a good starting one. Doomsaw is pretty good. And I think slightly better than both of those is Arcanite Reaper. The Nicker is really, really good, but you have to remember it puts a dot on your target, so it's not really a raiding weapon. And it's still worse in PvE than aforementioned items, but I do like the Nicker, so I'll still include that as a starting item to get. So generic ret PvP gear. Yeah, I know I'm going kind of fast because this is going to be a long video if I don't. That's why I made notes. Helmet. Lionheart helmet. I would still put 8 strength on it, even though 100 HP in PvP would be way better. The reason for that is you want the versatility so you can use it in PvE as well. Same necklace, Mark of Forging. Shoulders, I would go Lightforge or Valor. Now, when I'm going to keep saying Lightforge or Valor, it's implied if you use Valor, you're going for the 6-piece Valor. If you use Lightforge, you're going for the 6-piece Lightforge. Both those set bonuses are pretty good. I personally like the itemization of Lightforge more, but the set bonus of Valor in most builds I like more. But they're both really good. I'd go Shadow or Frost Resist on the shoulders. Enchant for the chest, I would do Lightforge or Valor, 100 HP. For cloak, I would do Cape of the Black Baron, but even better than that in PvP is Stoneskin Gargoyle Cape, and I do 3 agility. For wrist, I do Lightforge or Valor with stamina enchant. Hands, I do, this is important, Death Grip, or even better, Stronghold Gauntlets. So yeah, I would get plus 15 agility to my Stronghold Gauntlets but it's not in the game yet or something. I would, depending on my spec, I'd get riding speed if I don't have Pursuit of Justice, and if I do have Pursuit of Justice, I'd pick up 7 strength. For legs, I'd go Lightforge or Valor, 100 HP. Feet, Lightforge or Valor for feet. I would go move speed unless I have Pursuit of Justice, and I would pick up stamina. For rings, I'm going to put them in order. I'm going to say the least powerful to the most powerful options. Band of Flesh, decent option. Band of the Ogre King, a little better. Magna's Will, Painweavers, and the most awesomest thing you can get pre-PvP or whatever would be Myrmidon's Signet. That has a lot of HP on it, a lot of stats. Someone puts kings on you, it's worth even more. Okay, trinkets, kind of the same thing. Hand of Justice, Black Hand Beardeth. Once again, I don't mention the PvP trinket because that's a PvP item. Waist, Lightforge or Valor. And for your weapon, I would get the Doomsaw, the Nicker, or the Arcanite Reaver. Whether you want to go Crusader, Lifesteal, or Fiery depends solely on what kind of ret suit you're building. I think Crusader is the most all-around, but there's some things to it. Like it might surprise you. Deep ret, you might actually want to go Fiery or Lifesteal, because if your enchant if it crits, then it gives you Vengeance. But if you go Ret Reckoning, you only have 3 points in Vengeance, so definitely for Ret Reckoning, 100% use Crusader. Fiery does more damage than Lifesteal. Lifesteal steals health, kind of self-explanatory, but one thing to consider is Fiery also doesn't work in Molten Core, so you're going to have to weigh all 3 of these, and if you don't really know the ins and outs of what's going on, if you're building a ret suit, just put Crusader on it. You're always gonna do a pretty good choice with Crusader. Alright, now everyone asked me about this. And this next is AoE grinding suit, and they're like, oh, I don't have all Lawbringer, I can't do it, or can I? And then they want all the details. All right, one thing I gotta say about that generic ret PvP suit, actually, before I move on, is that if you were paying attention to it, you might have noticed there's 6 pieces of Lightforge of Valor. So you're unlocking the 6th piece, and then you're taking Player Mage, Stronghold Gauntlets, and Lionheart Helmet, and then you have a 6-piece bonus from either your Valor or Lightforge. A similar thing's going to happen now when we go to AoE grinding suit. Okay, so for the helmet, I would get Lightforge of Valor, 100 HP. For my necklace, I'd get Amulet of the Dark Moon, or it sounds kind of weird, but Medallion of Grand Marshal Morris. Defense gear actually not that bad when you're doing return damage, because I mean, sure you want reckoning stacks, but you do take a lot less damage against mobs if you have some defense. So I don't know. It's not ultra important. I mean, I guess Amulet of the Dark Moon is the best kind of simple item you can pick up. Shoulders, Lightforge of Valor. Chest piece, this is an insanely important thing that nobody knows about. Demon Forged Breastplate. And I would, instead of getting 100 HP, I would put the 10 Absorb buff on it. Try that out. Strong as hell. Cloak. I do Redoubt Cloak, Shifting Cloak, Cloak of Fire, Cloak of Flames. Your cloak's not super important, but all of those are pretty decent items. You could get away with literally something like of the Eagle or something. I don't know, really. Int stam, but whatever. Yeah. Cloak of Fire, Cloak of Flames. Think about it. Pretty good. Moving on. Wrist, Lightforge of Valor. You're going to want Stamina enchant on that. For your hands, let's pick up the Razor Gauntlets. And I would do Riding Speed, because I'm going to assume you don't have Pursuit of Justice. But 7 Strength and 1% Haste are pretty good too. For legs, I would do. Oh, I wouldn't do 15 agility. It's just Razor Gauntlets are way too crappy to put 15 agility on. Legs, Lightforge or Valor, 100 HP. Feet, Lightforge or Valor with movement speed, because remember you won't have Pursuit of Justice. For rings, the Nagler ring is super awesome, especially once it upgrades. And then your secondary ring, it's not so important. You know, maybe Blood and Water, Maiden Circle, Myrmidon Signet, Songstone of Ironforge, all those will be fine. For trinkets, easy to get and really, really good. Uther Strength and Force of Will. And waist, Lightforge of Valor. So once again, you get your 6-piece Lightforge of Valor. Good deal. Weapon. Alright. It's my favorite weapon. I have a hard on for this weapon because I've seen people always think it sucks, and I'm showing the light on this one. Skullforge Reaver, scales the spell power and plus healing. The life tap, it's incredible. It's great for even AoE farming. You get a lot of health back. And you can actually life tap if you switch mobs. I don't know why you would, but when you can actually stack multiple life taps that are going for 30 seconds each. Something to think about. Okay, and then of course I would do lifesteal on that. Better than that though is Hand of Edward the Odd. That's an incredible item that you can buy off the auction house. And I'd put Fiery Blast on Hand of Edward the Odd because you're usually dealing with a high volume, and when you have a high volume, I think Fiery Blast, the one that AoEs everything, is a good deal. And then for shields, what you want to find are things that work better when you get a block, because you can like force blocks to happen. Where I think Skull Flame Shield is okay, but it's only based on you getting hit, so the chances are kind of static, like it's 1 in 3%. So yeah, it's not super impressive, even though it does do an AoE, but it scales with spell power, so it has its place. But I just think in AoE grinding suit, what you really want is Crest of Retribution. or the Argent Defender, and of course you're going to want a Thorium Shield Spike. Now look at Argent Defender and Crest Retribution. I don't have the Argent Defender. I want someone to get it and figure this out for me. It says you get plus 50 blocks, so if I have Redoubt and what's it called? Holy Shield up with Argent Defender going with tons of mobs on me, does that give me 100% block chance? If so, that item might be God tier. Someone find out if there's a soft cap for me, please. I'm gonna kill myself if I find out I just wasted like one of the best AoE grinding items in the game. Okay, next on my list is Prop Paladin Dungeon Tanking Suit. So if you just want to tank dungeons, go for your helmet, Light Forge, amulet, get Medallion of Grand Marshal Morris, your shoulders, Light Forge, fire resist on that, and your helmet 100 HP by the way. For chest, do Demon Forge Breastplate with the 10 Absorb. For cloak, I would do Redoubt Cloak with 1% dodge if you want to spend the money on it. But if it's not out on your server yet, I would just get probably 3 agility. For wrist, I would do Light Forge with stamina on it. Gauntlets, I would do Stronghold Gauntlets. Big time because it has parry on it and immune to disarms. They're a big deal in a lot of dungeons. Legs, Light Forge with 100 HP. Feet, Light Forge with movement speed because you won't have Pursuit of Justice. Rings, I would get Naggle Ring. It's still okay even when it's not the most up-to-date one, when it's just the hit on the ring, because if you're tanking a dungeon, you're going to probably need 1% hit plus your precision anyways, so at least 4 hit. Something to think about, a lot of people don't really think about, or they don't adjust for, like, if you're doing a dungeon, you don't need your normal hit chance. You gotta remember, a lot of the mobs are like level 56 and stuff, so like you don't even need 5% hit oftentimes. So that's why a lot of these things I'm suggesting don't have max hit, and the ones that do have max hit are just for PvP. So it's like, it's assuming you have precision, so you have, well, that's why I'm lacking in hit in general in these builds. You have to use some common sense. Like if you're going to AoE grind a bunch of level 53 mobs, you really don't need hit chance. But anyways, you might need some hit, so even the old Naggle Ring isn't that bad, and the new one's even better with defense once it updates. Some other rings to carry: Blood of the Martyr, Maiden Circle, Myrmidon Signet, Songstone of Iron Forge, and depending on how high level the mob is, like if the mob's above level 60, you probably should pick up Blackstone Ring for another hit chance. For trinkets, I'd go Uther Strength and Force of Will. Force of Will is really good in this situation where Uther Strength is not that great. Uther Strength's better for AoE grinding because it's lots of little weak mobs, but Force of Will is still better. Still like best because it gives you defense. But it kind of, if you had to replace one of the two because you had some new really powerful trinket you got, I would use Force of Will. So like if you got Essence of the Pure Flame, I'd probably replace Uther's Strength for tanking. Waste, get Light Forge. And notice it's not Light Forge and Valor for tanking, it's just Light Forge. I really feel that you need the extra intellect. Now, the server I'm playing on, Deathbone isn't fully upgraded, and getting a full suit of Deathbone is really hard anyways. But another thing for tanking is maximum Deathbone with just random off pieces, spell power plate. But that's not really in the game yet, so I'm actually going to make that listing of equipment in a part 2 or 3 of this later on. Alright, moving on. Holy Reckoning suit. How do you start out? With a Lionheart helm. Once again, I take the 8 strength over 100 HP. Just because, you know, it's more versatile. You can use it in PvE. The amulet, I'd use Mark of Fordring. Actually, that's a mistake on my paper. For Holy Reckoning, you should use the Dark Moon Fair necklace. It's a pretty bad mistake. Just read off the paper. Anyway, shoulders, Light Forge with Shadow Resist probably. Chest, Light Forge, 100 HP. Cloak, once, if you get a spell power cloak, that's cool, or plus healing cloak or something. But I think since there's not too many spell power cloaks, the one you should be looking for, because it has a lot of stamina. Stamina is just as good as spell power for Holy Reckoning. Is the Stone Skin Gargoyle Cloak, and just put 3 agility on it. Plus 5 all resist is pretty decent too. For wrist, I'd go Light Forge with stamina. For hands, I would go Stronghold Gauntlets or Death Grip if that's all you can get. Legs, I would go Light Forge with HP. Feet, I'd go Light Forge with movement speed. Once again, you won't have Pursuit of Justice. For rings, there's a lot of choices. I'd go Maiden Circle, Myrmidon Signet, or Songstone. I have Iron Forge is the main things. Once there's some updates, you can get like the Cyclone Band or something, but those are the 3 main ones. Trinkets, I'd go Hand of Justice or Briarwood. I think Hand of Justice is better, but Briarwood is not that bad. But one thing you need to have for Holy Reckoning, you must have, or try to get it as fast as you can, is the Dark Moon Maelstrom card. Insanely powerful. For waist, I'd get Light Forge, and for the weapon, it's not really so much about weapon damage because Seal of Righteousness doesn't scale with weapon damage. Weapon delay and weapon proc become a bigger deal, so I would actually recommend the Nicker. The Nicker is like probably even better than Arcanite Reaper, sadly. Even though it's only level 53. That 4.0 delay will make your Seal of Righteousness hit really hard when you wreck bomb. And awesome, that dot is just awesome. So, Holy Reckoning suit, get the Nicker. Okay, for Holy PvP suit. Now, when we start getting into healing suits, I'm not like the best in the world. But this is just what I know, and maybe it can be improved. I would go for the White Cell helmet. I always call it White Cell, like white blood cell count. White Soul helmet, 100 HP. For the necklace, probably Tempest Talisman from DM East. For shoulders, I'd go probably Dawnbringer shoulders with Shadow Resist. For chest, I would do Red Dragon Scale breastplate with that is only chainmail and you're losing a lot of armor, so I might actually also. I would be a hard choice. I would probably use energized chestplate just for the extra armor and put 100 HP on it. For cloak, there's nothing better than Hide of the Wild. It's amazing. Plus 5 all resist. For wrist, I would go Gallant Wrist Guards, but if I had only my Loom Guard arm bracers, basically the male version of that, they're really good too. I think both of these are good enough to merit the plus 24 healing enchant. Gallant Wrist Guards is like a green, but it's like a green that is as good as a blue. Look it up sometime. It's an awesome healing piece. Hands, it's only chainmail, but it's enough plus healing that I would probably still go with it. Harmonious Gauntlets. And I don't remember what it's called, but I think there's some sort of like abyssal hands you can get in Silithus that are plate that are just like a random drop, but that's not in the game yet for me yet. So let's just go with Harmonious Gauntlets, and then I'd put riding speed on it because once again I won't have Pursuit of Justice. Legs, Shitonius plate leggards. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. 100 HP. Feet, Merciful Greaves, 100 HP. Rings, Blood of the Martyr, Bloodcaught Band once it's upgraded. Demonic Guiles, decent. Band of Ruminations, decent. Band of Earthen Wrath once updated, it's pretty good. I think the main 2 rings though you should really be going for are the Emerald Flame Ring from DM West and the Ford Ring Seal. But those are the 2 best healing rings. Trinkets, Briarwood, Reed, and Royal Seal of Elder Thalis. That's amazing. Amazing trinkets for healing. Waist, even though it's leather, I would probably still use the Corehound belt. Yeah, that's a hard call. It's leather, but that's a lot of plus healing. Weapon, I'd use the starting weapon, Hammer of Grace. I probably wouldn't put 55 healing on it. It's just too expensive to put on that crappy hammer. So I would just take it unenchanted, or maybe I'd put Icy Weapon and like maybe try to slow a flag carrier or something in a dire situation. Probably just do nothing with it really. Shield, Sacred Protector, and just put a stamina enchant. Okay, now this is definitely not my world of expertise because I don't find it very exciting. So I don't put a lot of thought into it. But Holy PvE suit. Um, some good ones to look for helmet is the Helm of New Moon, the Sanctified Leather Helm. White Soul helmet, but the big one, the best in slot, is Insightful Hood, and you want to put the +8 healing enchant on it if you have the money. For healing necklaces, I could be wrong. There's the animated chain from Undead Strath. I think that's the best. It has to be. But there's also the Darkmoon Fair necklace is pretty good, and the Tempest Talisman. Shoulders, get Dawnbringer. Shoulders with fire resist. Chest, I would go Robes of the Exalted with a +150 mana enchant on it. It's funny, a lot of these I don't even have on my paladin because I'm lazy when it comes to PvE. Holy Cloak, Hide of the Wild +5 all resist. Wrist, Gallant Wrist Guards are Loomguard Arm Bracers, 24 healing. Hands, Harmonious Gauntlets, move speed, riding speed I mean. Legs, Padri's Trousers. Yeah, Padri's Trousers. +8 healing. My handwriting's really bad right here. For feet, we go Merciful Greaves with movement speed. Pretty good. For rings, once again, the two best top dogs. Without farming any honor or anything, it's going to be the Emerald Flame Ring and the Forge Ring Seal, but Blood of the Martyr, Bloodcaught Band, Demonic Guile, Band of Rumination, Band of Earthen Wrath. Those are all decent healing rings too. Demonic Guile is so easy to get too. Anyways, for trinkets, you want to go again with the Briarwood Reed and the Royal Seal of Elder Tharos, or the Dark Moon card Beast. I think is pretty good. I've had other Holy Pallies tell me, oh, it's overrated. I suspect they're wrong, but I have not gotten the Beast deck yet. I have reason to believe it would be really good for PvE healing. But for sure, winners that are really easy to get: Briarwood Reed and Royal Seal, the Elder Thalos. Waste for PvE, yeah, Corehound belt, just the best. Weapons, Hammer of Grace, it sucks, but what are you gonna do? Offhand, honestly, I know you guys probably make fun of me. There's probably some amazing offhand out there. I couldn't really think of one. I know there's the AV one that you can grind for, but that's not really what we're, that's a PvP reward, so it doesn't count. So I just said, just find something on the auction house with plus healing on it. That works pretty well. Anyways, I plan to make more of these. Like I want to do a nature healing suit for AQ40, priest dueling suit. I have quite a lot of ideas I want to do in the future, and I'll cover different suits and how to get started. But I wanted to break it up for two reasons. One, if I decide that I was an idiot and I need to change what's best, I can change one little section and not have to redo all the builds all at once. The second reason being that I think some of it, this is the most important stuff, so I wanted to do it first, and some of it won't be that relevant till later, like my AQ40 healing guide build. Anyways, Daysfall guys, good luck.